Good morning, comic book fans. Welcome back to Comics in 5 Minutes. I am your ever-loving host, Shorty, and apologies for hardly any videos last week. Hardly anything was there to review, and stuff I did have sold before I got around to reviewing it. Not a problem today, though, because we have more From the Ashes, because I'm going to do all the From the Ashes stuff, and I don't care what anyone says. And it's Dazzler, and because it's a From the Ashes book, some of you are probably thinking, well, sure, you can use this as an opportunity to talk about racial oppression and oppression of minorities through societal means. And I'm like, yep, you've got me. It's totally what I'm going to do. It's what the comics are about, so why the heck not? I am going to start by just talking about whether the comic's good or not straight off the bat, though, because in this case, it is a visual medium more than any others I've seen. Simply because Dazzler's powers are effectively turning sound into light, and that's very much a visual thing where you need to be able to show that effectively on the page. This gives it the benefit of looking absolutely spectacular when it needs to, but also kind of derails what little plot there is to just being mostly just a stage performance, which doesn't move what little plot there is forward. Now, it looks spectacular. I will say, like, in terms of general art style, it feels very much Marvel in-house style, which I said before is not my go-to thing, but it does elevate itself when it needs to. More than just the cool light display thing, there's also a really nice little subtle twist ever so much into being a Saturday morning cartoon kind of vibe to it. It's not full-on, but it's just like a slightly odd overextension of certain features for making them look a bit more comic-y, or cartoony, should I say. It's something that works really effectively for this. I think Dazzler as a comic book character which works quite nicely if you think of it as a Saturday morning cartoon, don't get me wrong. I know she's gone and done some absolutely major stuff with X-Men and various other groups, but in terms of people who are likely to pick up a Dazzler comic book based on what they know about him, I feel like this is the right choice artistically, and it's going to drag people, which is really, really good. But then, yeah, we do get to the light show on stage, which is a prolonged combat sequence with music stuff going on in there, and it does two things really well here. Number one, it looks spectacular. There's a really nice glow to the pages. It's the kind of thing which I've said before is quite difficult to do effectively, but when it's done right, really adds to the intensity of what's going on, and here, yes, 100%. It is brilliant. Also, the writing for this bit is really quite nice as well. The creator of it, I do apologise, I have to check some names here. Jason Liu actually has wrote the lyrics for some of these songs, which I think is a really nice thing, and is effective as well. I do not claim to be any kind of musical expert. My musical taste runs from Scandinavian black metal to punk, really, not much in between. I occasionally listen to some BTS. But this does feel like it was written to be a poppy kind of song. There is a nice cadence and rhythm to what I'm reading, and I can feel like a rhythm in my head as I'm reading it, and that's really effectively done to say there is no actual music playing, so huge props to that one. I do have to lower my expectation a little bit here, or what I'm going to say how good the comic is, because the plot, as I've said, is pretty thin. Mostly it's just dealing with the idea of a musician going on tour, and there's a lot of background stuff going on. But I feel like the background stuff is the most important kind of thing, exemplified in this comic book by the manager of the act. I do keep forgetting names, so I am going to check this one. Wind Dancer is the character. And it feels like at this point we have to talk about oppression, because there is a very strong idea that it's okay for some people to be out and proud, and there's some people who pass, shall we say, and they're held up as examples of what it means to be part of greater society. An awful lot of people, way better versed in this, with far better lived experiences. In fact, any lived experience other than me on this one, will be able to talk far greater about it, so I'm inviting anyone who watches this to comment on it to clarify this. But the idea that it's, after stuff like the Stonewall riots, there was a push by an awful lot of cis-hetero, or cis-queer people to not keep doing riots, to basically assimilate rather than stand out and stand proud. And the manager for Dazzler is very much kind of pushing that. Now, she's playing it off as like she understands how dangerous it is out there, and she wants people performing with Dazzler to be safe while they're on stage, and she doesn't want the negative right-wing kind of people to use what Dazzler is and what she does as ammunition against other mutants. So this all sounds very, very safe. It sounds very, very centrist. And I feel like that is 100% on purpose. And it's hard to also deny that Dazzler as a character feels like she absolutely would be this kind of person. She is popular, she does very cool poppy kind of music, she looks fantastic on stage, and it's hard to deny that she's also very centered in terms of Euro standards of beauty. She's the one that would pass much easier than almost any other mutant, so she's held up to be like, this is what she'll aspire to. Dazzler, for her credit, actually pushes back against that, but I feel like what the comic book can do, and I hope it does, is actually look at this idea of what it means for somebody who can pass, who has public acceptance and can live their life a lot freer from oppression, to actually fight against oppression for the rest of people who exist in her minority grouping. I don't know that's what it's going to do, but I think it's setting up enough threads here that I would be surprised if it didn't, and I look forward to seeing what that can do. And I also think we should get better plotting going on, because the writing individually is great, but the issue 1 plot just feels like more setup than anything else. Not a bad thing for an issue 1, but it leaves me hoping for more for issue 2. That's it from me for now. There's a lot more to review this week, so make sure you do the social media thing, otherwise you will not see and hear me, my dulcet tones. Until I see you again, though, look after each other, everyone. Stay safe. Bye!